Good evening, everyone. My name is Samantha Mowat. I'm a clairvoyant psychic and a contactee, and tonight I'd like to talk to you about an encounter that I had on November 16th, 2014. During this encounter, I was taken from my home, and when I awoke, I found myself standing in a hallway. As I looked around, I noticed that there was no one with me. Not human, not extraterrestrial, not multidimensional. I was by myself. Now, I did not recall how I got to be in that location, nor did I recall the reasoning why I was there. And so, as I looked around, I noticed at one end there was a large door that opened in two doors, pardon me. My guides corrected me and they said I'm not explaining that properly. But closer to me was a corner. And I decided that I would look around the corner to try to get my bearings before I decided what I was going to do and where I was going to go. And so, when I peeked my head around the corner, please excuse my neighbor and their loud diesel truck, but when I looked around the corner, I noticed that there was a large room, and there appeared to be surgical equipment. There was a surgical table in the middle of the room, and then I noticed that around this table, there were 3 gray extraterrestrials. Each of them was short, none of them were wearing clothing. However, they were standing all around this table towards the sides and at the foot closest towards me. And when I looked upon the table, that's when I noticed that laying atop of this table was a man. He had a slender frame. He appeared to be in his early 30s, maybe mid-30s. He didn't look very old. He had brown hair, and he didn't seem particularly conscious. It looked like he was just vacant. And as I looked at these grays for a moment longer, I noticed that they seemed to be calculating or observing what was happening. And then I noticed that the gray that was at the foot was holding a device in his hands. It looked as though he was calculating the information that the 3 of them were observing and trying to figure out what it is they were going to do and whether things were ready to move forward. And so I decided to really pull back my head and just take into account what was happening in the situation. I thought, okay, this is really strange. I'm not comfortable with this. I think it's best if I leave. But I didn't want to just walk away. I wanted to get a better idea of if this was the right moment to walk away and whether or not they had seen me. And so I took another peek around the corner, and when I did it this time, I noticed that the gray on one side, had changed its position. It was no longer on the side of the body, rather it was standing on top of the table with its feet aligned with this man's feet, while the other 2 grays, one remaining at the foot and the other at the side, were watching, and this gray kind of leaned back and it fell into the body. It looked like it was being absorbed into this human and merging with it. And when I saw this, it really made me nervous. I wasn't fully sure what it was I was seeing, and I didn't really understand what it was I should do. And so I decided that the best thing to do was actually just to walk away from these grays, because I didn't recognize their energy. I didn't recognize the vibration they were emitting, and I knew that I did not know them on any personal level. So I was not able to gauge their intention, nor understand their reasoning behind what they were doing. And as I walked down that long hallway, I noticed that it was quite bright, that there were no decorations, there were no furnishings of any kind, but I did see that off on the side there were 3 people. And when I was in soft speaking distance of them, I looked at them and I said, "You must come with me at once. There are grays in the back that are that are joining with human bodies and occupying them, and you need to come with me now." It didn't occur to me to gauge whether these people were having any form of emotional reaction to this, nor did it occur to me that these people did not say anything in response. And really, that should have set off a little alarm in my head, and looking back on it, it does. I didn't realize that these were probably gray extraterrestrials that were already occupying human bodies that were waiting for the other ones to come join them. And so, as I walked out of the building with these 3 other beings, I noticed that we were in a small town, but it didn't feel like a town that normal people inhabit. I remember only seeing adults, and that seemed like everyone was working in unison with one another. I remember that there were docks and a lot of boats all over the place, but they looked more of a military style boat rather than, say, fishing boats or leisure boats or even just small dinghies. And so, as I'm walking with these beings, I remember thinking a few moments later that I could sense the grays from earlier. I recognized their energy because it had come out of the building, and I knew that they were looking for me. They had become aware of the fact that I had seen them going into the human bodies, and they had wanted to talk to me, or they had wanted to, well, find me, I guess is a good way to put it. And so this made me nervous. I told the three that I was with, I need for you to go this way. I'm going to go this way. And so I stepped onto one of the boats, and this boat was occupied with several men. And they all seemed like they were sailors. They seemed like their energy was on leave, or like they were having a day off or something like that. And so I was only on there for a moment or two, and I noticed that they had music playing and that they were joking around, they were laughing, they were dancing, they were being really, really silly, like people are when they're on their days off. And this one grabbed my hand and he started dancing with me for a minute. I remember he had dark hair and that he was in semi-casual form, like clothing, not really jeans and a t-shirt kind of casual, but just kind of like a work casual type thing. And anyways, a few moments later this man kissed me, and I remember being really taken aback because I wasn't comfortable with that. And I pushed him off me, and I noticed that these beings were getting closer. And so I'm looking around going, where do I go? Where do I go? Where am I going? And I noticed that there's a door up ahead, a wooden door with a round handle. And so I walk up to that door and I open the handle, and without thinking I just quickly go inside and slam the door shut. I'm holding onto that handle so that nothing can possibly open that door. And as I'm looking around, I'm going, I'm in a broom closet. I'm in the smallest possible room I can be in. A few moments later, I noticed the energy from one of the extraterrestrials that had occupied a human body standing outside of the door. And I knew right away that this was a female extraterrestrial and that her energy was right outside of that door. I could feel when her energy wrapped around the handle, and she kind of jiggled it a few times, like, come on, open the door, open the door. Similar to a parent does when a child's holding a door shut because they don't want their parent to come in. And after a few moments of her shaking the handle and me just staying there in this closet, I went, well, this is futile. I have nowhere I can go. There's nothing in here. I have no means of defending myself. I may as well just go out and see what it is they want to talk to me about, or what it is they want to move forward with doing. And anyway, when I came out, she looked at me and she sent me this large wave of loving, kind energy, and she said, no, no, these are not human bodies that we are occupying. You misinterpret us. You did not understand what you were seeing. She said that these were more like human shells, that these bodies did not possess a soul or a life essence, but rather they were vehicles in which they were able to occupy, or not really occupy, but visit human worlds without being noticed as much. And when she explained that to me, she explained it with a great deal of warmth and consideration. She explained that it was not their intention to frighten me, and it was not their intention to make me uncomfortable. They felt it was very necessary to find me and to explain what it is that was going on. And I am very grateful for the fact that she took that time to explain this to me, because otherwise I would have been quite concerned with what it is I was seeing. Well, I'm going to take my dog for a swim. It's still very hot. It was lovely talking to you, and I hope you have a beautiful day. Peace, love, and light. Bye.